Now we need to clean up our project map and layers before we perform our service area analysis and make sure that all of our data works as expected. So over in the contents pane, I'm going to right click on the routes feature layer and open up the attribute table. I'm going to confirm that I have 3 features and 3 records and that all of the values are populated correctly, and they are. So I'm going to go ahead and close the routes table view, right click on the stops feature layer and open up the attribute table. And then again, confirm that all my stops are present and the values are populated. So I'm scrolling all the way through. It all looks pretty good. Oh, look at my last record there. I've got a null value for my stop ID. And so if you remember, if I select that record, you can see it's the feature we added when we were addressing the topological error that all routes must have endpoints covered by a stop. So right there, the last stop is 40, so I can't mark it as 41 because it will be out of order. So I need to find the first stop. There it is right there, and it's 33. And so I do have a gap there where 31 and 33, so I can mark this stop as 32 and it will be still in sequential order. So I'm going to click on the stop ID value and enter in 32 and click enter and clear my selection. There I can see now my first stop on the green line is marked as 32. That's right. Go ahead and save my edits. Now I'm going to close my stops table view and scroll up. I need to remove my system topology from the contents pane, so I'm going to right click on the group layer and select remove. And scroll down. I also want to remove the population density block group layer because I don't need that anymore. So I'm going to hit remove. And if I activate the map ribbon, you can see that the visual hierarchy is not very strong, and that's because the ortho imagery is kind of confusing and dominates the image. So I'm going to switch it over to the light gray canvas. And now my system really pops. It's the highlight within my map view. Now I'm going to select the stops feature layer, click on the explore button, and click on one of my stops. Notice that my display value right there, stops 54, is actually displaying the object ID, which is kind of confusing to users. They wouldn't really know what that is. That's a system ID. And so I need to use some other field that's going to inform my users. So if I right click on the stops feature layer in the contents pane and select properties, I'm going to switch over to the display. And there you can see my display field is set to object ID. And so I'm going to change it to something more informative like line and click OK. And then now when I click on the stop in the pop-up, you can see the line is green and the display fields are all set to green. I'm going to drill down, make sure that my schedule works. Oh, it doesn't. So there must be something wrong with my relationship class. So I'm going to go ahead and close the pop-up and open up the scheduled table view. Oh, and there I can see the issue. I've got a null value for my green line, and so the relationship class won't work because it's not connecting. So I need to update that value. I'm going to click on it to update it. Oops. I need to make sure that my schedule table is editable. Now I'm going to click on it again. There we go, and set it to green. And now I need to remember to go to the edit ribbon and activate the edit ribbon and save my edits because I made changes to my table. So go ahead and hit save and yes. I'm going to close the table view, select the stops feature layer again and click on one of the stops and just confirm that I can access the related record, which is my green schedule, and I can. So good, it all works. The last thing I'm going to do is reposition my map view so that all my routes and stops are in my area of interest, and then I'm going to save my ArcGIS Pro project. Now you need to refer to the statement of work task 3D to perform your service area analysis. I'm going to advance the video and I'll catch you at the end of that task. All right, so at this point, I've completed my service area analysis. I just ran my geoprocess there I clicked on Run from the Context Sensitive Service Area Layer ribbon, and there you can see it created a Service Area Feature Group layer that includes my facilities, which are my stops, and my polygon, which is my resulting 5-minute walk time service area from each of my stops. Now, if I look at my geoprocessing history, I can see where I ran the make service area analysis, add locations, and solved for my solution. And in the catalog pane, if I refresh my project geodatabase, you'll see that in addition to my system feature dataset, I have a new service area solver feature dataset, which was created when I initiated creating the service area so it could hold my data along with my solution. All right, so now we're ready to enrich the service area with worker, resident, and population. So if I go to the analysis group and in the tools gallery, I'm going to scroll all the way down to the enrich data group and click on enrich, which in addition to the service area analysis, the enrich is a cloud-based geoprocessing tool. And there you can see it's going to consume ArcGIS Pro credits. It looks like I have some outstanding edits. You always want to make sure you save your edits. If I go to the edit ribbon, I can see the save button is enabled, and I could click it there, or I could just click it in the warning there, and that resolves it. Now I'm ready to populate my enrich geoprocessing parameters, including setting the input features as service area / polygons. My output feature class, if I click in there, notice that it's going to put it in the root of my geodatabase, and I want to put it in my system feature dataset. So I need to click on the Browse tool and then browse into my project geodatabase, into my system feature dataset, and then I'm going to name it service _ area and click Save. And there, if I click in the text box again, you can see there's my project file geodatabase, but it's within the system feature dataset, my new service area polygonal feature class output. Now I'm going to add variables by clicking on the plus sign, and that's going to open up the data browser window. And under United States, you can see all these different categories that I can add values to my, in this case, my service area polygon. And I'm going to double click on population. And within the population category, you can see that there's a lot more variables that you can add, including things like gender or language, the household type. I'm going to go all the way down to population totals and double click on that. And then within population totals, I'm going to expand the daytime population. And I want to place checks next to the daytime workers and the daytime residents. And I want the count, not the percent. So make sure the percent is disabled and the count is enabled. And then you're all set. Go ahead and click OK. And then now we have all our parameters completed in our enrich geoprocess, but it won't run because it's a cloud-based tool. I need to estimate the amount of ArcGIS credits. So I need to click estimate, and you have plenty of credits, so don't worry about it, but you have to estimate the credits before you can run the tool. So make sure that you estimate the credits and then click run. And now it's sending those parameters to ArcGIS Online, which is then generating the result and sending them back down to your desktop ArcGIS Pro software. Go ahead and close the enriched geoprocess and the history there. And then you can see my new service area polygonal feature class in my system feature dataset, and also listed in the contents pane as the service _ area feature layer. All right, now I need to clean up my ArcGIS Pro project. I'm going to right click the service area group layer and remove that from my contents pane. If you look down at my service area feature layer, the symbology has that cutoff 5. And so I want to resolve that or simplify that. So I'm going to highlight the service area feature layer, go to feature layer and symbology. And instead of symbolizing by unique values, there's only one feature. So I'm going to go ahead and symbolize by single symbol. And then click on the symbol patch and go to the properties panel. And I'm going to switch the fill color out to a medium gray. I'm going to change the outline color to no color. And of course I need to apply my changes. Mine's set to auto apply. And then on the feature layer context sensitive ribbon, I'm going to go to transparency. under the effects group, and I'm going to change it to 50%. Close your symbology pane. Now over in the contents pane, you can see the service area feature layer has an underscore in it. I'm gonna go ahead and get rid of the underscore and replace it with a space. So it's a little bit more intuitive. I'm trying to make my feature layer names and my symbology as intuitive as I can for ultimately my users, which will view my data through my app. So that's what I'm setting my contents up for. I also need to clean up my project geodatabase. So over in the catalog pane, you can see the service area solver feature dataset. And if you can't, go ahead and refresh your project geodatabase. And then we're going to delete the service area solver feature dataset because we don't need it anymore. So I'm going to right click and delete the service area solver feature dataset. And that's because I got what I needed out of it, which was the service underscore area polygonal feature class that is enriched with daytime residents and workers. So if I click on the Explore button, make sure selected in contents is enabled, and then highlight the service area feature layer and click on the map, I should see all of the attributes for my service area, including my daytime workers and residents. All right, go ahead and close your pop-up window. I'm going to reset my interface, save my ArcGIS Pro project. This concludes summary task 3.